Well, there's a big problem among small business in this country and probably every country. Everybody's really good at the nuts and bolts of their business. And they understand what they sell, but they don't know how to sell it.
Every business is unique.
But the ups and downs we experience as we launch and run our businesses are pretty similar.
We're Harmon Brothers, the team behind Pooping Unicorns and other weird but successful video ads you've probably seen.
We help businesses grow through unforgettable video marketing, and we're no stranger to tricky situations. In fact, we embrace them.
The goal of this podcast is to show how your crappy circumstances could be the golden opportunity that leads to your next success.
You're watching Poop to Gold.
Welcome back to From Poop to Gold. I'm Benton Crane, your co-host, and the CEO of Harmon Brothers. Today I have on the show with me Brian Gregory. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Glad to be here, Benton. I'm excited.
Now, Brian is the founder and CEO of ADMANITY. And ADMANITY, this is really fascinating in my mind. ADMANITY has developed a 5-minute test that any brand can take. And from that 5-minute test, they have a very advanced algorithm that they're able to predict the combination of emotions and tonality and the things that will resonate for that brand. And so it can be very prescriptive in helping a brand with their marketing and with their messaging. And so I'm excited to have Brian on to tell us more about that. Hopefully he can give us a behind the scenes peek, pull back the curtain a little bit and tell us about what this ADMANITY test is. So with that introduction, Brian, take us from there. Tell us more about this ADMANITY test.
Well, there's a big problem among small business in this country and probably every country. Everybody's really good at the nuts and bolts of their business. And they understand what they sell, but they don't know how to sell it. And I learned this when I was in the publishing business for 15 years, and we would ask people for their artwork, for their ads to go in the magazines. And what they would send us was what they thought would be a good ad, which we knew wouldn't be, but they just didn't know any better. It's unfortunate, but it's almost at an epidemic level. And I would say that 90% of the advertising that's done on a local level is ineffective for the brands. And it's not because they don't want to know or they couldn't do it if they tried. They just have never been shown how to create emotional work. And as you're so familiar with Harmon Brothers, if it's not emotional, it's not going to move the needle at all. Mm-hmm. Right? And so they need to be shown this. So the algorithm is designed to take any business. We can analyze any company. It does not even know who they are while you're taking this test, and it will ask you a series of true-false questions. And at the end, it will identify your core emotional structure. And from that, it structures your ads, your upsells, your customer win-backs, your words, your phrases, your metaphors, your colors, all the ad strategies you're ever going to need and more. And it hands it to you in 5 minutes. And that's what makes it very, very convenient and useful for small businesses. And it's very inexpensive at $397. So everybody can afford this. For the first time, you can have an agency in your hip pocket.
So this can apply to, let's say, used car dealership, a plumber who's trying to attract new clients. What else can it apply to? A grocery store?
It could apply to an agency, to a coach, an online business, any retail, whether it's online or bricks and mortar, any profession, doctor, lawyer, CPA, any kind of service business, which is half of all businesses. It could be an online, it could be anything. I used to joke we could analyze a bait shop in Tibet. We would be able to tell that brand what to do. It doesn't care. See if this makes sense. It doesn't care while you're taking the test what you do, how long you've been in business, how many employees you have. We don't ask any kind of questions like that. It cares how you do it. It's identifying the emotion that will sell your brand. Even though you haven't told it what your brand is, it knows. And when you read the report that comes instantly after the test, it's a mind blower because you haven't disclosed any of this, and the test will read back to you as if you'd written it yourself. It's fun. It's fun to see the look on people's faces, but that's just the warm-up act. And from there, we get into all the formulas and the strategies as if an agency was coaching you. And most small businesses will just never see the inside of a true agency, right? It's just too expensive for them. Mm-hmm. So we're the other alternative, and nothing like this has ever existed before. And as far as I know, nothing like it exists anywhere else in the world.
Paint a picture for us. So let's use that bait shop in Tibet. So what's an example of a couple of the questions the bait shop will be asked?
Well, we've identified 15 archetypes or emotions, if you will, that your business will end up being one of those. At the end of the test, we're narrowing the universe from 15 possible categories down to one. Okay. And so it's going to ask you all these questions. Some are designed to double down and enforce your answers. Some are designed to eliminate and weed out the ones that are definitely not you, because we have to get down to one, and no two tests are alike. So everybody takes a different test, and it uses conditional logic to determine what your next question is going to be based on what you said to the last one. So everybody takes a unique test, and it'll ask you questions like something simple could be, hey, our main goal here is to help others and to almost like a charity. Okay. And you probably say no to that because you're a for-profit business. Okay. So they're real easy to answer. There's no trick questions. Another question might say, people hire us because we dramatically improve their brand, or them or their brand. So, and you would look at your company, and if you sold auto parts, you'd say, nah, that's not me at all. And so they're very easy to say true to or false to.
Got it. So I go through the test, and then it spits out a report to me. Give me an idea of some of the things that are included in this report. Does it have actual ad copy, or is it giving me kind of these guidelines on how to write the ad copy?
A little of both. The first thing you're going to get is what we call your brand brief. That's instant, boom, just as soon as you're done with your test, you're reading about a 4 to 5 page assessment of you. This is how the world sees you, how you should present to the world. Here is the key emotion that you are. Here is what that entails. Here's how you might structure your customer service, these types of things. And it speaks in general terms, but it's very, very accurate considering the millions of possible things this little document could say. Then you are invited to your digital portal where the rest of the curriculum is waiting for you, and you have a report there. We call it a brand attraction report. And then it gets specific. It says, these are your advertising formulas. This is what the ads might look like when completed. This is formula number 1, 2, 3. And we just don't give you 1 or 2. We give you 16 creative ways to move your brand, whatever it is, service, product, doesn't matter. You'll see that they fit. Then you get the words, then you get the phrases, the cliches, and the upsell metaphors that you should be using in all your copy, whether it be email, funnel, or website, right? Or in your ads. So it's not just for ads. This thing will carry into every aspect of your business, to your social media posts and everything else. Then you'll get the upsells. We'll show you how to upsell. Whatever it is you sell, this will be the upselling tactic for how to get more out of the current customers. And we show you the win back. So when you lose customers, how do you get them back? These are the psychological strategies that will work for you. So there's a lot of psychology, but it's presented very, very fun, simple, easy to read in layman's terms. Anybody can read this and understand it. And they go crazy when they finally see all the answers that they've been searching for years maybe, and they've had ads that didn't work and they didn't know why, and they've had ads that actually worked and they didn't know why, and they're asking everybody around them for advice and they don't know either. They're just trying to be helpful, right? And it's sort of the blind leading the blind. When you finally get to the point where you see it laid out in front of you and it makes so much sense, it's a true revelation for them, and it's really exciting to see.
I love it. Yeah, it often boggles my mind that I can still see a used car commercial that just is like, we. All they do is just talk about we, and they don't talk about, what it means to the customer and why the customer should care. We won't be undersold or whatever it is. And so oftentimes, like when you see the local mailers come that have all the local businesses, so oftentimes they kind of fall into that same trap where it's a local dentist who just talks about, why we're awesome. And so I can see a service and a tool like you're providing just being massively helpful.
Yeah, we even have a whole chapter dedicated to that. We call it the ADMANITY WHAM principle. What about me? Because as they're reading your copy, as you know, all they're thinking is this going to help me? Is this any good? How much is this going to be for me? Am I wasting my time right now reading this, right? Yep. It's all about them. And all the copy that typically gets written in this world is all about the advertiser. Like it's a bragathon, right? It's a book report on why I'm great, which nobody cares about. And there's so many things, as you know, we focus on the 15 emotions that have sold every product on the planet Earth. And we show you how to use each of these 15 emotions for your brand. So say, for example, authority or attraction or temptation or admiration or affinity, service. That we have a community, and there's all these different emotions that we can trigger. And we show you how to use these 15 tools. Really, these are 15 tools in your tool shed, and you've been experiencing them your whole life. You've had them used on you. You've been in front of the TV watching them influence and persuade you your entire life. Now we're going to flip the script and say, you get to use these tools to influence and persuade your audience. It's not that hard to do. Someone just needs to show you for the first time how it's done.
So I'm excited to go take my own ADMANITY test because I want to experience this firsthand. Where can our listeners take this test?
Well, you can go to admanity.com anytime, and it'll always be ready to buy. And it's just instantly, 5 minutes later, you could be holding all the answers for your brand. It's very quick. The test is easy and simple. You can also find me on LinkedIn. So if you look for Brian Gregory on LinkedIn, I'm pretty friendly. I think for most people on LinkedIn, or sometimes you feel like they're hiding, but I'm not hiding. I'm there to talk to people. And we have a special website set up today for your listeners only. And if they go to admanity.com/poop2gold, I've never had poop in my URL before, Benton. Thank you.
First time for everything.
First time for everything. You go admanity.com/poop2gold, all one word. You can download this amazing report, How Emotions Sell Everything. And it's totally free, and you'll enjoy it. And it'll kind of give you a little bit of an intro to ADMANITY, what we're all about. We'll show you those 15 emotions that you'll soon be using to make your fortune with, and tell you a little bit more about what we do. And it's just a great way to get started. It costs absolutely nothing, and there's no obligation.
So genuinely free, not free plus shipping and handling.
It's the last free thing, truly free thing. Yes. I'm not saying we won't email you maybe again, but you can always opt out. We're here to just expose this program to the world because, again, if you're a small business, this has never been available to you unless you hired an agency. You'd have to spend a lot of money, and they'd spend a lot of time, and it would take, and then you wouldn't really know if it was right? Agencies have created the best ads in the world. And a lot of agencies are our customers, but you'd have to go through that. So this is a very inexpensive way to write all the top line answers for your brand without having to go through that type of an ordeal. Mm-hmm. And it'll help the small business. If you're a small business right now and you're wondering whether it's worth it, it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you actually get to see all the answers for your brand, then decide if it's good for you. And if not, you get a refund. But we don't get too many of those.
I love it. Okay, I want to hear about your journey. How did you end up building this? I mean, this sounds like a project where you've got to be both a marketer as well as a data guy, I would assume, to be able to build an algorithm of this type.
It's funny. I'm lucky. I structured the algorithm in my head, and I don't know anything about, at the time, I'm not a computer type person, but I knew what it needed to do. And I was able to get with, computer type people who could actually make the code work, right? I'm not a coder, but I knew what it had to do. And I had the logic paths in my head figured out. My background was in sales and marketing. I was always, every business I had, I was always the best salesperson for it. Obviously, you own your company, you better learn how to sell it. When I had a publishing business, which I lucked into, I didn't plan on being a publisher. It wasn't a lifelong goal. And I had this magazine, and I had to grow this thing fast because it was literally just dumped on me. I had to learn how to sell ads, and I found I could sell the ads very easily to people. They were willing to buy. But then what happened was they'd give me an ad that wouldn't work. They would, give it a couple months when they're spending this money week after week after week. And if the ad isn't pulling, all of a sudden you get a phone call, and the phone call says, I'm canceling. And now I'm having a freak out because I'm losing money. And the reason is my magazine is no good, right? Because the ad didn't work. It's not my magazine, it's the ad. But it's hard to tell somebody that because they think anything is a good ad. They think if it's got their logo in it and a giant picture of them, it's a great ad, right? So you can't just dictate that. So I thought, I've got to teach these people. I've got to show them what a great ad looks like. I've got to show them first so they'll get it. And then they'll want their ads to look like that. It'll just make sense. And that's where the rabbit hole of ADMANITY began. I wrote a book and I found people love the book, but you can only get so many books out there. And I wanted to help millions. And there's no way I was going to sell millions of books. So I came up with the idea of the algorithm when I took a personality test one day, and I thought, wow, wouldn't it be cool if I could take a personality test, not for me, but for my business, and it would dig deep like this personality test just did on me, but it would tell me all the cool things about my brand that I need to know. And I thought, surely there must be something out there that had done that. Nothing, I couldn't find anything. And of course, entrepreneurial light bulb goes on and you say, aha, I will start this. I will do this. And I'll figure out a way. And that's what I did. And, years later, many algorithms had failed to achieve the goal. We finally got one that works perfectly. And it's an amazing thing. Thousands of calculations are happening during your simple true false test. You can't see it, but it's going on. And so that was my aha moment. We have to help the small business. Otherwise, they're just going to keep wasting their money. And then they hate advertising. They hate marketing. They hate salespeople that sell it to them. They hate, and why not? Because that's the last thing they remember is you took my money. So I want to make sure everybody realizes this company was born in the fires of altruism to help people do better in the market. Especially now, as we record this, we're coming out of COVID, right? Mm-hmm. And we all need to get back fast, and we need to get back to where we were. Nobody wants to take a slow boat now. There's less money in the tank, and there's less time on the clock. So get the answers and get there that much quicker. Don't mess around anymore. Don't guess. Don't throw darts at a moving board. Get the answers and focus like you've never been able to before.
What was your poop moment along this journey? Where did things get bleak?
Where I was sorry I did it. When I got into the weeds of this, and you realize, hey, I'm going to be advising business people. They're going to be spending money. They're going to be making decisions on this advice. And I realized how much curriculum was going to have to be created before we could sell the first test. It was literally, you always hear stories about people who say, well, I sold the course first. And then as people started signing up, I started creating the coursework. Mm-hmm. That couldn't be done here. We had to create the algorithms, the tests, and over 2,000 pages of curriculum. And I realized at that moment, I am in for a long, very difficult task to create all this materials, graphically design it, get it digitized, get it online, make it user-friendly, create portals for people to visit, stock the portals with interesting articles and videos and podcasts that all had to be done up front. And I've never done anything like that massive a project before. And people say, would you do it again? And the answer is no, I would not. I'm glad I did. But I probably, knowing now what had to be done, that's a lot of work. It's a long time to go without a paycheck when you realize this is all in the formative stage of the business.
So did you self-fund through that whole phase?
At first we self-funded. We got some family and friends money. COVID hit, and then all of a sudden there's the investors are harder to reach. You can't even get them on the phone because they're all like worried what's going to happen. And we were not in revenue at that point. So, you don't have that great story to tell. You're pre-revenue with a new idea. And you might as well just be saying, I have a virus in a jar. Would you like some? Right? The investors were just
in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, it was hard. It was very hard. I mean, now we're in revenue and we're getting testimonials that you just can't believe from people who know the business. And it's great, but it was a rough start for any company during the last year. I don't care if you were doing great. You got a black eye somewhere, right? So it's hard. It's hard. And that was probably our our worst of times, I guess, when you're looking at the length of time it's going to take to get this out there, the fact that we can't get enough investor dollars right in the beginning to do the big thing we wanted, the big launch, and you still have to find a way. You just got to find a way.
Got it. When did you launch?
We just launched in November of last year of 20. Okay. So we've just been out, a few months. We're just now, we're doing a lot of podcasts. We're building our first webinar. So that's going to go live hopefully next month. And, we're just trying to get more exposure for the brand. We're making key partnerships, strategic partnerships, just made a huge partnership. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it yet. Well, we just partnered with one of the largest stock photo companies in the world so that not only can we give you the words, the phrases, the metaphors, the emotions of your brand, we'll be able to give you the photos that you should best use as well.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be so cool. We're going to curate a library of photos so if you're this kind of brand, you'll see the photos that we would recommend you use in the ads, and it'll all be part of the ADMANITY protocol, which is what we call our product. So it's really starting to happen, and I'm enjoying so much, meeting people like yourself who are movers and shakers in the business, who know full well, when I say emotions are important. Can you imagine doing one of your commercials without it?
It's impossible.
It's impossible. Yet the average person, when they sit down and they got their little sheet of paper and they're like, oh, I got to get my ad done for the magazine tomorrow, the last thing they think about is which emotions should I be triggering right now, as you mentioned before. And it becomes a fact-based ad, and they always fail because nobody cares. Right?
That's right. And emotions sell, and then logic can be used to justify the action that was taken, but it's not the motivator.
Yeah, I have a famous phrase I always say, why give me 100 reasons why I should try it when one emotion makes me buy it? And you can give me the brochure after I bought. I'll take it home and it'll say I'm a smart guy. And, here's our test results and Consumer Report says this and that. And, oh, great. I'm happy I bought now. But to get me to buy, you have to trigger a primal human emotion or it's going nowhere fast. And you can't sell your brand to the world until you understand what attracts the world to your brand. It's so important. And we got to get this message out there.
That's right. Okay, so I know you told us earlier in the show, but repeat one more time where our listeners can follow you and where our listeners can get that free report.
Sure. Go to admanity.com anytime and you can get your test and get with the program, so to speak. You can reach out to me at LinkedIn, Brian Gregory, ADMANITY. You'll zero right in on me. And we have a special website today for your listeners and viewers. So go to admanity.com/poop2gold, all one word, and you'll be able to download a free report called How Emotions Sell Everything. And it will show you all these emotions I'm talking about. It'll show you how we do it. It'll give you examples of big brands, huge brands, and how they've done it. And we've modeled a lot of our formulas after big successful brands who changed their whole game with one ad. And we show you exactly how to do that. It's all in that report. So it's free. Just go get it.
Awesome. Brian, it's been such a pleasure to get to know you, and we appreciate you sharing your expertise with our listeners. Let's wrap up with one final piece of advice. So what would you recommend to the entrepreneurs who are just now coming out of COVID and we're facing a post-pandemic world, a post-pandemic economy? What's the one piece of advice that you would give to those entrepreneurs?
One thing I would say is don't wait for everybody else. When they say all clear and everybody get back in the water, it is going to be a splashing contest. Okay. Everybody's going to go in at the same time and they're going to start advertising their brand. And if you think there was noise in the pool before that you have to rise above, it's going to be even worse. So my advice is entrepreneurs, start now. You may not have as much money as you think you need. It doesn't matter. Get your website retuned. Get your social media looking just right. Start rewriting your funnels. Start getting things in shape Because when you do have the ad spend and you do kick it on again, you don't want to be the last guy in the pool because it's going to already be too full. Do it now. Get ahead. This may be one of the best opportunities you've ever had. Almost never before have we had everybody sitting on the bench, like we did in the last year. Now, almost everybody's still on the bench. Jump in, get ahead of the curve for once, and be heard and seen and remembered. That would be my advice.
Love it. Thanks again, Brian. We sure appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks, Benton. It's been fun. I'll come back anytime.
Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.
Has the marketing for your business plateaued? At Harmon Brothers, we offer a free marketing audit where we can go in and identify areas where you can level up so you can get back into rapid growth. Just go to harmonbrothers.com/audit and you can sign up for a free marketing audit today.
Use our team's collective experience to turn your marketing weaknesses into strengths.
Check it out. You won't be disappointed.